Pretty easy program to work with. If you are going to type up a script or a screenplay, you are going to need it in a certain format. If you don't do it in this format, people won't read it. And the people who are really important in this scenario are going to be people who are agents and people from Hollywood. If your script isn't written just like this, people won't look at it. They'll throw it away, and you will have wasted your time. They don't have time to read a novel. What they do have time for is getting down to the point, and that is the exact same thing that I'm going to want when you turn your scripts into me. So you're going to get this program. Welcome to CeltX is going to be this splash screen that opens up. All right, you're going to have recent projects over here. You're going to have different templates for different projects over here. All right, when you're starting from scratch, you're going to just do film for me, but obviously there are different things that you can do inside of this program as well. This is a free download that you could go to CeltX.com and put onto a PC or a Mac. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go to recent projects inside of here. And when I open this up, you see wonderful Wizard of Oz. Inside of here, you have several different options to start. All right. Typically, when you are up and starting a script or a screenplay, you're going to start with your transition, fade in. Okay, fade in. CeltX will automatically format it. If I was to put this as a scene heading, it would format it over here. If I was to put it as an action, it would change the font style and size and put it over here. If it was a character, it will center it and capitalize it. If it's dialogue, it's going to go, just like you're typically typing in a Word document. Parentheticals, put things in parentheses. Transitions, which is what a fade in is. A shot, which is what the camera will capture. And then, text. All right, this, you start with a transition, fade in. We know that our story is about to start. The next thing that you're going to want to do is go to a scene heading. You see that it will automatically default to scene heading and give you this font size and style. Again, if I change that, everything on this would change. Okay, so I'm going to go to scene heading. EXT or INT is how you always start your scene headings. Exterior or interior. EXT, exterior, INT, interior. Then you're going to give the location. This happens to take place in a forest. It could be a classroom. It could be your living room. It could be a bedroom. All right. The time of day is extremely important. It changes your lighting. It changes your mood. All right. So it could be midnight. It could be noon. It could be daytime. Just generally, it could be dusk. It could be dawn. All right. So you want to go interior, exterior, your location, and your time of day. Absolutely mandatory. All right. Next thing, when you are starting this, you're going to go then to your action. And this is not very descriptive. It is very short to the point. It's not using anything flashy as far as its words are concerned. You want to communicate to the director. You want to communicate to the cameraman. You want to communicate to the actors, so we know exactly what's supposed to happen inside of here. We don't want we don't want to paint this elaborate picture. So it's very plain. It's very to the point. Dorothy, Tin Man, Scarecrow, and Toto walk through a thick forest in the land of Oz. Dorothy carries a basket. Tin Man carries an axe and an oil can. The road is paved in yellow brick and covered in dried branches and leaves. Emerald City is seen far off in the distance. This tells us how we're supposed to set this up. We know that we need to see the Emerald City in the distance, so there's going to be a over-the-shoulder shot. There's going to be low angles, high angles. Handheld camera shots that are going to kind of set up this whole scene. So we get the dried branches and leaves on the yellow brick road. We know what everybody's supposed to be carrying. We know that everybody's walking, through the forest, blah, blah, blah. So once I've done that, this is my action. I like to go in and whatever I am envisioning in my mind, I want to put those shots in. So I go down here and I put in my shot. Whenever you type in here, for instance, an E, I want to make sure that I am set to shot, and I type in E. It's going to give me some defaults. This isn't everything that you can do, but it is definitely several things that you can do. You don't have to worry about holding capitals down or the shift key down, because it automatically formats it for you once you're on the appropriate thing. So if I was on, action, see how it puts it into a lowercase. I would then have to, like a Word document, hold shift in order to capitalize that. But because this is a shot, all right, it will capitalize it for me. If I put in CGI, or if I just type in C, it gives me option of close-up, cut, and cutaway, which are some of your basic shots. Okay, so super, it gives me a superimposed text of Oz. I'm going to then go to a low angle from the front of the group approaching. I had an extreme wide shot to start the scene, from the group walking toward Oz. That way I can establish Emerald City in the distance. Then I'm going to go to a medium shot of Dorothy. Dorothy then, right? Character, all right? Sets it. It will capitalize it for you. I am going to put a parenthetical, which is just a short little description of how the actor is supposed to be behaving. All right? In this case, it's frightened. All right, if it's supposed to be silly, I'm going to type in silly. If it's supposed to be startled, right, this gives the actor an idea of how they're supposed to deliver the line. So now she knows that she's supposed to deliver the line in a frightened manner. It's really scary in these woods, right? It's really scary in these woods. So it's not robotic, it's not playful. It's really scary in these woods. It's really scary in these woods. That's my best Dorothy. So now that's what our parenthetical can do. And a lot of times when you don't have actual dialogue, parentheticals are good for your characters because they know the body language is going to communicate just as much as anything else, and sometimes more than the dialogue itself. So underneath your parenthetical, it will then format itself to dialogue. You can hit return, from a parenthetical, and it will go straight to a dialogue. Go back. If I go from Dorothy and hit return, it will go to dialogue. If I wanted parenthetical, I'd have to drop that down. It's not something that is a typical thing. All right, I can also hit my tab key, and a lot of times it will scroll through that, and those are some of your keyboard shortcuts. All right, so once Dorothy delivers her line, I can go back to action. I can put in my camera shots, my camera movements, and then I'm back to Dorothy. What was that? And then I'm over the shoulder, Dorothy looking at the Scarecrow. Here's the Scarecrow, delivers his line. I go to an action. There's Dorothy, dialogue, character, dialogue, character, dialogue, action, character, dialogue, character, dialogue, character, dialogue, action, character, dialogue. And inside of here, I would start putting in a lot of my camera shots. If the line hasn't appeared yet, I would put in a handheld camera shot from something peering from beyond the woods, so we know that something is kind of lurking in the distance. I wouldn't shoot it from a tripod necessarily if I want it to behave much like the lion would. All right, so then the camera becomes the lion's eyes as he lurks behind trees and kind of peers at, people walking along the path and just kind of sneaking up. Kind of adds that element of mystery, and whatever else. So that is kind of how you would format this. All right, once you do that, you go click down on these tabs down here. You have your title page, who your author is. You can type into all of these if it's based on anything in particular, contact info, copyright if it's applicable. Also underneath here, you can go back to your script if you need to keep going. You can typeset PDF. Will combine everything. So if you print this, you would go to your typeset PDF. You can see that I scroll through. It attaches the title page, which it won't automatically do. All right, and it will go into your script and screenplay down here. It will continue it and format it for you as it should be, and then you save it. Click save, drop it inside of your documents, and title it appropriately, and you have yourself a screenplay. You have yourself a script. All right. There's also other options inside of here as you go on for storyboarding, you know, um, and as you get really proficient with writing scripts and screenplays, the more elaborate they become. This is what you would start to use. You'd start to use few more of these details. Um, Index cards, which which are a great way to occupy time and plan out your whole movie. You know, Hollywood writes scripts and screenplays in 112 to 120 pages. Shorter scripts and screenplays, obviously, for shorter productions. So, if we're talking an hour and a half, 112 pages is very sufficient. So, it gives you kind of an idea. If I'm asking for 30 seconds, or if you're writing something for a 10-minute short film, you know that you're using, a much shorter script. It's close and to the point. Right. So that is how you use CeltX, and go to CeltX.com and you'll be able to download that for free.